Hey guys, what's up? It's Quicksilver here, and today I am over here in my tutorial world. So I guess over there you can see the cow farm, some other stuff that I've done for the witch farm. But actually I am here today because a little while ago, I guess not a little while ago, a few weeks ago, I built the automated chicken farm, and I promised you guys I would do a tutorial on it. So I have dinked around a little bit trying to figure out the best way to do this, and I think, unfortunately for me anyway, at least hopefully not unfortunate anymore, but I think the best way to do this guy is to try and do it layer by layer, a la Assumevoid. I know he in the past has done some really awesome tutorials, and they've always been pretty easy to follow along with, so I'm hoping that this will be the best way to do this. So what I've done here, as you can see, is I've tried to deconstruct the entire chicken so that you guys will not only be getting the, I guess, the redstone and hopper wiring and all that good stuff on how to build this guy, but also how to, I guess, build the pixel art. So if you just want to have a big giant chicken in your world, here's, I guess obviously there's a lot of ways to do it, but here's how I built mine. So I guess let's get started. First thing I'm going to do, let me set my, oops, yeah. Let me set my time to 0 on this thing. I really probably... Okay, let's try this again. There we go. I really probably got to find a better solution than this little daylight sensor thing, because it does let it get pretty dark here before it actually takes off. But alright, here we go. First thing that you're going to need to do if you want to build this is find a big area that has somewhere you can dig down. The pit here that I've got that has our hopper chain in it, and I'll show you how to build the individual components, and then I'll walk you through how to build that. Because this is really probably, if this thing has a heart or a brain, this is probably it. It's based on Monkey Farm's design, or at least I think it's his design. That's where I learned about it, so I'll give him credit. But yeah, so here we go. The first thing, so when you start to dig this thing out, you need to dig a hole that is 16 blocks wide by 11 blocks long this direction and 3 blocks deep. So you have a nice little pit here. I've obviously cleaned mine up a bit. If you wanted, you could probably get away with just doing 10 blocks deep, but this thing is a little tough to move around in. In my world, I made the mistake, as what I'm going to call it, of actually, this is, I think, my entry point in my world. So it's really kind of tough when you come in here. It's hard to move around and not get stuck on the ladder. So in this one, I'm actually going to build our entry point back here. So it should be a lot easier for you guys to get in and out of. There's two major components in here that you need to be aware of, and I guess the first is the actual hopper timer here that allows you to go in a chain. So I will show you how to build that, and then the next thing over here is actually our, I think it's called a monostable circuit, and it's really just these, well, I guess these 2 blocks and repeater and all this good stuff. And in essence, what this does is it lets you turn a constant pulse or a lever, if you want to use a lever with it, you can certainly do that, into the same thing as a button push. It's just a little slower. But so I'll show you how to build those 2 things first, and then I'll show you how they all fit together down here. So without any ado, the bulk of this thing is built up of this hopper timer. So the basic hopper timer that I'm using in here, instead of just going back and forth like the standard hopper timer, this one actually sends things around in a long chain, in a long loop. As you can see here, the hoppers all feed into one another this direction, and when we get to the end down here, it actually feeds over to here, and then these all feed into each other this direction, and then it feeds back into here. So it's still the same basic idea of passing an item back and forth. You're just passing it back and forth along much longer chains so that you can get a longer timer on this. So these little units are built up of, they're actually 3x3s, if you want to call it that. Like these 3 hoppers, and then these 3 blocks here, these 3 blocks here represent one component, and we've actually tied together 5 of them on this side and 5 on this side, so that we can get a long enough timer to let our chickens, hopefully at least most of them anyway, mature and not be worrying about killing baby chickens. Now, as it's turned out, we can't kill baby chickens with it anyway, but it's still a decent timer to use, and so that's what I'm doing, so that's what I'm showing you. So first step is you want to place down your 3 hoppers, like this, 1, 2, and then 3. Hold down shift so that you can place them, and you'll get that kind of a configuration. Then off your first one, you want to throw down a comparator. Doesn't have to have this little doohickey up. If you see that lit, turn that off. You want it dark, and it's going to feed power into this block. Next to that block, throw down a redstone dust, and then a repeater that has no timing delay or anything like that on it. So what's going to happen with this thing is, as soon as you throw, if this hopper right here has one item in it, it's going to power it up and it's going to lock this timer, or this hopper. So this hopper can accept items from this one, but it can't pass them any further down the chain. Now the reason that we have this 3 blocks wide instead of just 2 is we need this extra hopper in here, because if we build these all next to one another, then you end up with this redstone when it's on powering this block, and you unlock a lot of things, and you end up just sending a bunch of items through here all at once, and you don't get the timer. The idea behind this is we're going to take this thing and we're going to load it up with blocks, all full 5 stacks in all of these, and what it'll do is it'll pass everything over to here, and it won't move them any further until it's emptied this one completely out, and then it'll start feeding them from here into the next bit of the chain. So it'll start feeding them into the hopper that would be at this point from over here, and that'll lock the next one, etc., etc., etc. So this is our basic little hopper timer that we're using in there, and we will chain them all together down there. So just to kind of go in here, I think the way that I have this set up, we would start at this end. So you can see right here, there's the 3 hoppers, there's this stuff that's built into it, and then it passes them to the next one, the next one, the next one, and the next one. So basically you want to build 5 of those in a row. I've done them I've started my stuff 1 block in from this corner, and it's and then it just continues down, and when you get to this side, when you're done, your redstone dust should be 1 block away from the wall here and 1 block away from this corner here. The other side is the exact same setup. The only thing that I realized when I was building this thing that's kind of handy is you're actually offsetting these blocks by 1. So if you notice, these redstone blocks are not in line. So what you're doing is when you're passing it over to this side, you want to, the first thing I usually do is I build the hopper chain completely first, and then you can throw these things in, and it's not really too tough to build. So when you go over to this other side, if the part where you have your repeater feeding in, you want to have a comparator feeding out, and it's going to go into a redstone block, the same kind of a setup, and then from here it just repeats all the way down to here. So that's how you set up the hopper timer chain, and then from there we're going to set up our monostable circuit here. And the only thing we have to do differently is when you get to the end of your timer here is throw down a one redstone repeater, have it feed into a block, throw a redstone torch on the back side of that block. Off of that block, have a redstone repeater to 4 ticks that feeds into another block. Have redstone dust next to the repeater that feeds around 1, 2, and then back up on top of this block, and then throw another torch into here. And that's your monostable circuit. So what that actually does, I've got one built over here that we can actually look at. This is all that you're building. This redstone right here. Actually, let me grab that little guy. That little guy. This would be where your repeater is feeding into it. So it's going to feed into this block, and then this is the monostable circuit that I was showing you there. So the way this thing works, and I've wired up a lever so you can see it, is when we pop this thing in, we send our redstone signal down here into this block. It immediately turns this torch off, which almost immediately turns this redstone dust off, which then turns this torch on like you would expect. But after a slight delay of 4 ticks here off this repeater, it's going to then power this block, which will turn this torch back off. So you have basically the time that it takes for this torch to turn on, and the time for this repeater to send the signal into this block to turn it back off. So when I do this, you'll see we just get a little flicker on that torch. It doesn't do it when it comes off, only when it turns on, which is perfect for our chicken farm because we don't want to send 2 pulses up with this thing. We just want to send 1 pulse up. So back down into the mess here, when this block gets power because it's getting items from here, not only is it doing the same thing that it's doing before to keep things passing around, but we're pulling the signal off of there, and we fire up this thing and we send the monostable circuit. So this is our torch that's going to get our little flicker, just like we'd pressed a button instead of pulled a lever, because this is in essence a really, really long button push, but we're treating it like a lever, so we get our little quick signal off of here. So then in front of that torch, I'm putting down 1 redstone dust, a block in front of that, and then a redstone dust on top of that. And that completes our first row of this thing. So I guess moving on to the next item is really going to be pretty minor. This is everything we already had built. The only thing we're doing is we are adding 1 block. Right here is where we were just working. We're going to do this, boom, boom, and then break that underneath. So we want one block up here. So our power is actually going to feed into that block from our monostable circuit when that thing flickers. The other thing actually I forgot to mention over there is if you come to this opposite corner from where the monostable circuit is, you want to throw down 2 ladders here, because this is going to be how we're going to get in and out of this thing once we're all done and everything's all funky. So then moving on to the next area here, what I've done is I've counted off where the outermost I guess edge of this thing is, where we can walk, because at this point you're going to cover this all up. I've chosen to use grass blocks just so it blends in with the ground here. You obviously can use whatever you would like, but just top all that off so you don't have to see all the ugly redstone. But that's all you gotta do. The only thing you need to do is over top of where this block is that comes up, and it'll be real easy to see, you want to leave that empty and throw in a redstone torch on top of that block. So it'll look just like this. Then when you get over to this corner, again, you can use whatever you want to over here. I've thrown down some stone blocks so it's easy to see. I've thrown in the little guy there so we can climb down, and then obviously I've not rebuilt all this stuff under there. But so that's your access tunnel to get in and out of that little cave. So that's a really simple layer, so that's what we're going to build. So then once I've gotten that done, from here on I'm not keeping this outline just because I didn't want it to travel the equivalent of 87,000 Minecraft miles to show you each layer. So what I've done from here on is, and I've only done it on this first one, I've outlined the perimeter basically of this chicken. The chicken itself takes up, yeah, we're only tracking the dimension of the chicken. The chicken itself is 9 blocks wide, 15 deep, so 9 blocks this direction, 15 blocks this direction, and then it's going to be 16 blocks tall. So, but the nice thing about it is the footprint, really, all the footprint is that we're going to take up is going to be just down here. So it's real easy to run underneath this guy, and he doesn't take up a lot of real estate as far as running around, but you want to make sure that if you're building him under something, you want to make sure you have at least 16 blocks. If you have only 16 blocks, the topmost block is probably going to be part of his head, so you want to do at least that. But that is going to give you your chicken. So the way that we want to figure out how to build this guy is we're going to build it based off of where this torch is, because again, this is, that's the brain of our chicken, the heart, whatever you want to call it, that's going to let everything cook. And this is where we're going to take our signal from our clock up inside the chicken, and it's going to control the cooker. So what we're doing is wherever that block is, wherever that hole is, throw down another block. I've used I've used red stained clay. So you're going to throw down 1 block there. Then for the feet, you're going to throw down this pattern of yellow wool. So it's 3 blocks by 3. So you got, I guess it's a 3 by 2 rectangle with 1 on the front to represent his toe. Then skip a block here and repeat that exact same pattern. That's going to give you your 2 feet. Then what I did, and I would recommend to you if you want to follow this, I'm just going to go off of what I built. Go ahead and throw a double chest down right here in between his feet. It doesn't matter which side you have it on. If you have a preference for right, go for it. If you have a preference for left like I've done, go for that. And that's going to be actually where we're going to collect our drops from our chicken. Okay, so moving on to the next layer, what we're going to do is on top of your redstone, or God, I'm going to keep calling it redstone, guys, bear with me, on top of your clay block, throw down a redstone torch. In front of that, throw down another yellow wool, and then on the opposite side, or the other foot, you're going to throw down another yellow wool block right here in the middle, so opposite of what that one was. Then on your chest, in the middle, and I don't care if it's right or left, you want to be in the middle, where, like in between the feet, you're going to throw down 1 hopper on top of the chest. Again, hold down shift, place your hopper, and it won't open the chest, you'll just place your hopper. Same trick works when you're placing other hoppers on top of that one, so I'm not going to keep saying hold down shift. I think you guys can figure that part out. Alright, so our next layer, I'm going to throw down another yellow wool block on top here, and we're making the legs obviously. And then you're going to throw down another block on top of your redstone torch. We're building our vertical wiring to get our signal up there. And then you're going to throw down another hopper on top of this hopper. Moving on to the next layer, we're going to throw down 2 more yellow wool blocks on top of that, and that's going to finish out our feet. And we're going to throw down a redstone torch on top of this block. And then we're going to throw down yet another hopper. Oh, and then, I'm sorry, on the back of this thing, you want to throw down ladders. I think I was building it all along, but I forgot because it's the first time I've come around behind it. So it's a total of 3 ladders that you need for the back of this guy, and that's just going to give you access to the inside of the chicken. which right now Mojang's done, I think, a better job at keeping mobs inside of their cells, but you still sometimes get chickens that'll glitch out and stuff like that, and it's nice to be able to go up inside there and kill them off and get their drops. So, alright, that will be the end of that layer. So now, on this layer, what we're going to do is, on the easiest way to get started really is on top of that torch, place another block, and that's going to be the first block that's going to be inside your chicken. And then we are going to build a pad that is, let me count it out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks wide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks long. So it is a little tiny bit of a rectangle, but not very much. So you're going to build that, but prior to building that out, go ahead and place another hopper on top of this guy. That'll let you make sure that you have these in the right place. And then this is right above the foot. I've left that blank. So an easy way to tell if you're doing this right is behind the leg, not including this block, you're going to have 3 wool blocks behind it and then 4 in front of it. Okay? And then as far as the width of this, you're going to be 1 block outside the feet. So when you're done, your rectangle is actually going to be over this part of the foot and then the outer edge of this foot as well. And that's going to give you the base of your chicken, where his butt is and all that good stuff. I don't know why I said good stuff, that's kind of creepy. Anyway, okay, moving inside the chicken again to our next layer. Go ahead and on your clay block, throw down a redstone torch. On your hopper, throw down another hopper. And then build a 1 block high wall of white wool on the outside edge here. Now our next layer is where we start to get a little bit trickier. Throw down your hopper. Throw down, I've used cobblestone, again, use whatever you want. Throw down 1 block on top of your torch there, and then 1 block in front of it, and then throw a redstone torch on top here. One thing to take note of, when you see these in my build here that I'm doing, if you've done this right and you have it all wired up underground, I've not rebuilt all the underground wiring for all these things because it would drive me absolutely crazy, and you wouldn't get this for maybe never, because I might kill myself from sheer insanity of this. Your torches are going to be inverted, so this one will actually be off and this one will be on when you're building this. So if you're seeing that, don't worry, you've done absolutely everything right, and you'll see a different wiring on this whole back end of the cooker here. What I have off will be on when you're building it, and what you have on will be off in what I'm building. So just wanted to make that clear. So alright, here is our original build here, the original square. What you're going to do is you're going to add another layer on top of the front of the chicken, but then over here you're actually going to build out one. So I did it this way and then broke the block in there and picked it obviously back up. So that's how you can get, and what you're doing is you're building your wing here. So you're going to build that all the way back until you're almost to the end of your I guess this initial build here. So well, here, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it on this guy because we don't need to come back to it. You're going to build your wool across here. You're going to build this out. By the way, I've gotten exceptionally good at building pixel art chickens, so if there's ever a market for it, I'm your man, guys. Then you're going to build, okay, 1 block back here on this corner of the frame that you already have. Then build 1 block out, so you'll have this diagonal going. Then bump, bump, oh man, bump, bump. Then again back in here. Then you're going to build back out, and this is how you're going to build the basic structure of the chicken itself, including the wings. So that's how you're going to build that out, and when you get it all done, come on, timing. When you get it all done, it should look like this. So from above, actually, you know what, I lied a little bit, I forgot. In addition to what I had, I also had this 1 block out here, so it will be like this from underneath when you're looking at it from behind. And then on the inside, these blocks are actually important. You're going to be using those when you're building some of your redstone wiring and stuff like that. On the next layer, it's going to keep some of that stuff hidden. So that's why that's important. So okay, moving up to our next layer here, I'll start with the hoppers. Place 1 more hopper here in the middle, like that. Yeah, not like that, you're seeing the wrong one. Like that guy, so it's just a straight line feed down. Then what I did was, this is to make sure you catch any extra drops. So sometimes when you cook a chicken inside of our little cooker setup that we're going to have, items will glitch out of the corners of the blocks, so this just kind of is a good attempt, and so far it's been pretty reliable in my world to make sure that you don't miss anything. So what I've done is I've taken a hopper and I've fed it into this top hopper, and then I've just gone around in a circle here. So I'll feed this hopper into the first one. You're just going to make a big circle with all your hoppers feeding into each other. Sorry about that, guys, my phone is dinging at me here. We'll ignore that. So they're just going around in a circle and feeding all back in. I'm not worried about it being too quick or efficient. So basically it's just a spiral. These all feed into these guys, and that guy feeds it back into here. So anything that pops out gets caught and throws right into the middle. So that is that. That's it for the hoppers anyway. The wool, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to build up one more layer on top of what you already have here. So there's nothing kooky that's going on except back here now. When you build this layer, you're actually going to build back here as well. So you're going to have an extra block in here, and that's just for aesthetic purposes, so it looks like the actual wing actually has a little bit of shape to it. So that's what you're doing there. Other than that, it's just a big circle all the way around. The next layer, the redstone, where we fed in here, you're going to throw in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, and then see, I told you that was going to come in handy. Then you're going to throw down in front of that 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then 1, 2 blocks, so that you get that scenario. Redstone wiring, you're going to throw down redstone dust here and here. You're going to skip 2 blocks, throw a redstone repeater on 4 ticks here. You know what, I actually forgot a repeater when I was doing this. So redstone repeater here on 4 ticks, redstone dust, redstone repeater on 4 ticks, redstone dust, redstone repeater on 4 ticks. Then you're also going to throw down a redstone repeater right here on 0 ticks, and if you want, you can actually get rid of that block. You don't need it, but if you're going to be up here running around, sometimes that's handy. So up to you. If you want it, keep it. If you don't, you can get rid of it. It won't hurt anything either way. And then that is it for the redstone portion of this layer. Moving up to the next layer, this is where the chicken gets a little funky. We're going to throw down a circle of white wool all the way around the outside edge. In this case, there really isn't anything funky going on. You're obviously not going to put anything down here or here, but on these blocks, you'll go ahead and put down your wool, and it just circles all the way around until you get to the front here. And in the front, instead of going all the way across here like we did on that layer, you're going to put 1 on each corner, and then you're going to build out these. It's 3 by 5, and it should center on the front, and this is kind of the underside of the chicken's neck is what we're looking at here. So it is 5 blocks wide by 3 blocks deep. And that is going to be it for the pixel art portion of this. But then we're going to start getting into some more redstone. Over here on the section where you skipped the 2 blocks when you were putting down your redstone and the repeaters, you're going to go ahead and throw down a block here with a torch on it, and that's going to feed your power through all this stuff. Then you're going to throw down a block. It's kind of a weird floating block. There's nothing underneath it. Right there, you can place it easily enough. But it's going to be, both of these repeaters are going to be feeding into it. You can place it like this if you need to get one there. That'll give you your floating block set up if you need it. Then you're going to throw another one, a diagonal off of that, right here. And that block should be in line with your repeaters. It shouldn't be over it. It should be just touching the corner of your repeater here in the middle, and that's going to be placed well there. Then you want to place down a half slab over your centermost repeater, actually on the repeater, wow. You throw down a half slab on your hopper, actually on the hopper, and then you're going to throw down 4 of them surrounding it, floating above it. And then you're going to go back here, you're going to throw down 1 cobblestone block right there, behind your last hopper there. And that is going to give you the next level of your hopper / redstone wiring. Just so you know, and to give you an idea, this is actually going to be your kill chamber. On our next level, we're going to throw a dispenser in here, and you're going to fill that sucker with lava. So when your timer comes up, what all this is going to do is your power comes in here, it's going to feed around here, and it's going to go through here quickly. And well, you'll see how it's going to work. You'll see on the next level. I will just show you there where we'll actually have everything. So that'll make a little more sense then, huh? So okay, so that is that. So our next level, again, you're going to make a circle around your chicken on the outside, and then these 2 corners. Then on the underside of the chin, you're just going to build a little wall on the outside edge. So you're just throwing it down right here. And that will give you, again, that's just going to give us another layer of the pixel art for the chicken. Then, back in here, this is where we're going to get a little weird. On top of this first block that's on this little diagonal configuration, you're going to throw down a redstone torch. Then next to it and kind of floating above it. And again, I think I placed it by doing this, by throwing down a block here and then another one on top. And then I placed my first hopper against that block, broke the block, jumped over to here, and placed my second hopper facing into that. So this is a very simple little hopper timer. If you throw items in here, they'll bounce back and forth forever. And in fact, that's what you're going to do. I'm not going to do it here. Well, I guess I can, but it's just going to be really obnoxious ticking because I have that all tied up. Oh, come on, give me that. Give me. There we go. Okay. So you'll do that, but because, like I said, your wiring is going to be different. So all this will be turned off, and this will be turned on in your chicken. So you won't get that obnoxious timing. So go ahead and throw your block in there because that's going to be crucial. Okay. So what we've created is this locks your timer, and it won't start until it gets a signal, and it will just get the little click off of here. This is the part I was telling you I would explain over here. So the way this is going to work is every 20 minutes, this is going to get a quick pulse from your 20-minute timer. That's going to send your power into here and turn this on. Remember, this is backwards, which is going to send a really quick pulse into here, which will turn that timer on once, and then this will send it around very slowly and go back into here, and it'll do it again. Well, what that's going to do is when it turns it on the first time, this will pass the blocks back forth, and that will give you one pulse that this comparator will pick up and send into our lava dispenser, which is right here. And I'm sorry, I know I haven't told you to place these yet, but I will in just a moment. So that's going to send our signal into there, so it's going to spit our lava out, and then when this signal finishes traveling through here, this little delayed timer here, it'll send another pulse back in here again, which will let it pass the item back and forth a second time, so this will suck the lava up. So what happens is you get a quick spit out of the lava, and then it pulls it back in, which anything that's in here that's not a baby will get cooked. The reason we use the half slabs is twofold. Number one, anything that they drop will fall down through the half slab and into your hopper chain. Number two, actually I guess threefold maybe. Number two, it's low enough so that if there is a chicken that's on fire in there, or if it happened to somehow the chicken died while the lava was still on, the drops fall down below the lava and they don't burn up. And number three, the baby chicks are only a half a block high, so if they're standing on that half slab and the lava kicks out, guess what? They don't burn. So the only thing that you'll actually be able to cook will be a fully grown chicken that's in there. Sorry guys, had to take a little sip of water. A lot of talking. So alright, so back to actually telling you how to place things. You've probably already figured it out, but in front of these two hoppers, you're going to throw down a comparator, and then a dispenser that's facing in towards your half-stone slabs that are there. Then throw down a solid block here, here, and here. And that's pretty much going to have your cooker. This part we're pretty much going to be done with back here, and you've got your cooker in place. So then the next thing that we've got to do is next to these this block that you've thrown down, throw down another block here and another block here. Throw a comparator here that's not in subtract mode. You don't want that light on. Then throw down another block against this wall of the chicken. Throw a redstone repeater here on with no delay. Then on the inside wall that you've built up here on the chin, throw down another hopper timer just like that one. So you've got two hoppers that are feeding into one another. Don't worry about putting anything in there yet. Then you want to have a comparator. I mean, you can if you want to, but you're just going to see redstone flickering on and off over here a lot. But throw down another comparator off of this hopper, or this hopper feed, I guess. I don't know what you want to call that thing, a hopper timer, I guess. Again, you don't want it in subtract mode. Make sure that light's dark. It's going to throw down a block here with a redstone torch on it. In front of that, you want to place, or down here on the block that you've already placed, throw down a redstone dust. Place another block here with another redstone dust on it. Another block here, and you want to have a repeater on it with no delay facing into another repeater with no delay on it. And that is going to complete this level. And I'm sorry, I think that level's probably going to be, at least I hope it's going to be our most complex. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and I hope I didn't lose anybody. If I did, I will try and hover up here for a couple seconds while I'm shooting the breeze with you, and hopefully by seeing it up here from above, it will help iron out anything that, if you had any confusion or anything like that, this will hopefully help you figure out what to place and where to place it. Again, I think this is probably the most complex level of it, so I'll give you a nice 360 here. I hope that hope you can see everything, and hopefully everything was clear, and this is just wasted time in the video. But all right, so we'll move on now to the next layer of the chicken. This one, the wool part, the pixel art part of this is really simple. You're just going to add another layer to everything that you have here. So your wall that you had in here is going to get an extra block high, and then everything else on the outside is going to get high. Is going to get high as well. Ooh, wow. Anyway, so all right, so in here we are going to throw down a solid block on top of your dispenser here, well here, here, and here. Then you want to throw another dispenser in here facing this way, and it's going to be between your comparator that you had facing here and your redstone repeater that you had here as well. This is basically going to be your egg timer, your egg dispenser is what this is turning into. So the space that you had in between your comparator coming out of the dispenser now and this one, your repeater rather, you want to throw down again another little floating block in here, and on the wool wall that you just built that the repeater is feeding into, throw down a redstone torch, and that should be right over your hopper timer that you've already built in here. Then I don't think that's needed. That's an oops on my part. Sorry guys, ignore that guy. Don't know what I was thinking. I'm pretty sure that's an oops. Yeah, I don't have them over here. So all right, sorry about that. It's kind of confusing to make these. I didn't realize that. But then what do we have built over here? Okay, the wall that we've built over here, where your redstone that was feeding up here, and you just had these two repeaters that were not connected to anything that feed back into your egg dispenser. Right here you want to throw down a redstone torch. Okay, so I'll explain what's happening here. Oh, and then I'm sorry, you want a hopper that's behind a hopper that's feeding into the dispenser. So you can see the little hopper nipple right there feeding into the back of the dispenser. This is where your eggs are going to come in that are going to feed into there. So what we've just built here, and again this is another kind of complicated part of the whole thing. This is the second layer of complication. I promise from here out it'll be really simple stuff. What you've created here is you've created a timer that will only send a redstone pulse into this dispenser if something is in it. So if a chicken in our breeding cell poops out an egg, it will get dropped in here, and I think if I've got an item in here, I can actually show you this at work. Okay, yeah. Because it's locked, I'll go ahead, I'll throw a block in there. Yeah, oh god, yeah, absolutely. You guys need to throw a block in there as well or it will not work for you. So if I throw an item into here, actually, you know what? Let me get those down here into my active inventory, guys. Sorry about that. So I can throw a little block of sponge in here. We'll pretend this is an egg. I'm not going to use an actual egg because with my luck I'd get a chicken in here and it would just be really annoying. So as soon as an egg enters our timer chain here, you'll see when this thing has an item in it, the comparator pulls the one block pulse of power out of it that it can, feeds it into this block. The repeater then picks it up, which will send it around wherever you want. I guess if you don't want to use a repeater, you could use another comparator, but there's really no reason to. But that's going to turn off this torch, which then unlocks your hopper timer. So as long as there's an item in here, this timer is unlocked. So it's passing items back and forth, and every time an item goes into this hopper, this comparator will pulse, and it will pick up the signal and send it into this block, which will then turn this torch on and off. And again, until this is empty, this torch will just continue to flicker, which means we'll have a signal that goes up into here that turns this torch on and off, which sends our power into the dispenser, which makes our dispenser fire. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll throw a couple items into this hopper so you can actually see it working. And you can see how it just kicks them out. Now again, and I can show you kind of the full chain here at this point. See, now that it's done and it's empty, it stops firing off, so you don't hear that obnoxious ticking forever. Now because that's a half slab, the items that are in it fall right through it into our hopper chain. So if we go down here underneath the chicken between his feet, and I look in this chest, voila, there's our 5 blocks of sponge. Yay, I now have the ungettable block, and my stupid thing is not resetting the day. So there we go. So alright, so that's how that works. Again, I will give you another look at this thing from above. I'm not going to bother with that side because nothing has changed, but from here, just note the new items that we've added in here, the new layer, and it's really what flushes out the timer system for the automatic dispenser. So anytime you get something in there, this is a handy little compact way to build it so that anything that goes in there will get automatically kicked out. So alright, from here on we're really just talking, actually, you know what? Go ahead and throw, I did this in the next layer, but I don't think I did it here. Throw another hopper right there behind that first one. Ah, hell's bells. Actually, no, I'm sorry, don't do that. Ignore me. I'm smoking something, I don't know, man. Okay, so there's that. So the next layer of our chicken, we go back into pixel art burst. This is a little different. What we are going to do here, the wing is now done. So we want to first toggle downfall so we don't have to see this obnoxious rain. Oh, really? There we go. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build off of these two corner blocks that we have here. Okay, so that's where we're placing the white wool, and it's going to go all the way back to just right here. So right over top of this hole. Then it's going to go, we're going to go across to the opposite side right above the hole there, and then back up to the front to this opposite corner. So, and then we're going to fill in everything with white wool until we can only see our egg dispenser. So that's the only thing. So we're going to have our white wool stop right here. Okay, so we still want to be able to see the egg dispenser, and that's important because it's going to be part of the chicken's head and all that good stuff that we're doing here. So that is where the wool stops there, so you'll have a 2-block wide hole in here. And then you're going to build another layer of white wool just on the sides here. So you'll build 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 white wool, and then leave these 3 blank. And then you're going to take yellow wool and you're going to build 5 blocks wide, so it's the width of the white that you just placed down plus the stuff in the middle, and then 3 wide out, and you'll have like a little step in here where you didn't place your white wool. If you want, you can place white wool there, but it's really wasteful because nobody sees it, so I'm trying to save you some wool there. So it's going to be a 3 by 5 block that just kind of hangs out here over nothing. Underneath this guy, and you'll probably have to use dirt to pillar up, that's what I did, go ahead and place 1 red wool block. That's like the little chicken's beard or whatever they call that little wattle that hangs underneath their beaks. So that's what that is. Then over here on top of your hopper, you're gonna place 1 hopper that feeds down into the first one that feeds into your egg dispenser, and then another one that feeds into the one that you just placed. And that is it for that layer, guys. And from here, we're just building the chicken's head, so it gets really easy. So back here, you're going to build a circle around all of this. So white wool where there's white wool, and then yellow wool where there's yellow wool. So you're building a little yellow wall here, and this is obviously the chicken's beak, and then this part is actually the back of his head. So that's all you're going to do there. Then on the inside of this thing, the guts, you're going to place similar to what we did in the kill pit, you're going to throw down a half-stone slab on top of your dispenser here, and then you're going to circle around it just like this with a star pattern, half-stone slabs that are half a block above. And this is actually going to be your breeding cell where the chickens are, where you're going to place your chickens and make them breed so that you can make lots of baby chickens and cook them and eat them and all that good stuff. And that is it for this layer. Next layer is going to get even easier. You're going to build another layer all the way around, another circle like you did here. But then you're going to go ahead and fill in these 6 yellow blocks here. That's the top of the beak, so you'll be done with that. Then I didn't, as you can see, I cheated. I didn't build the whole guts on this thing. I decided I was done with that because I built that about 15 times. I guess I've built it 14 times, something like that. Anyway, on top of your half slabs, go ahead and place down 4 solid blocks. Again, you're just building a place to put your chickens, so there's nothing really crazy about that. Then on the next layer, you're done with the beak, so you're going to place a ring of white wool around the outside edge here. Then on the front of the beak, you want 1 wool block here in the middle, actually over the hole here. I don't know if I can get down inside there to show you. Yeah, okay, so in the hole here, so there's nothing underneath it. You're placing your black wool on this air block right here in front of your block there. You're going to place your white wool there, and then 2 black wool blocks on either side. Those are going to be the chicken's eyes. Then on the inside here, on the 2 blocks that you've already placed, place down 4 more solid blocks, and that's, at this point, you could breed people in here. They can't jump out of here unless they've got creative mode, but they don't breed the same way, so, and they wouldn't fall through the dispenser because they don't poop out eggs. So that is it for that. And then the next layer is the last layer. You're going to build, it's a 5 by 5 cap, if you want to call it that, on top of the chicken's head, and that is going to give you your automatic chicken farm inside of a pixel art chicken. So there you go, guys. I hope everything was clear in here. I'm not sure the length of this thing because I'm doing it all in one shot, so I apologize for the little gaps that I had in there. I hope it didn't confuse anyone. I think I've covered everything in there. If you have any problems with this, please do shoot me a message via YouTube. I will try to get back to you and let you know if you have any questions how you can do it. And that is how you build this sucker. If I get any requests for a world download on this thing, yeah, I guess I could probably find a way to pull this thing out and I'll get a copy of MC Edit or something. Anyway, if you are really confused with this, let me know, and if you need to get a world download of it or something, I'm sure I can make it available to you. Just let me know. And other than that, if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps me a ton. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Check out my other tutorials, my Let's Play world. I'm having a lot of fun in there. I hope you guys are as well. And yeah, there you go. Now you guys can build an automatic chicken farm and pixel art chicken to boot. So I will see you guys next time.